Welcome in. It is the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast back again for another week. Make sure if you are listening or watching on YouTube, you go hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on Apple, make sure you go give us a 5-star review and leave a comment. You could say we are awful, but hey, if you give us a 5-star review, that's good enough. That helps push the algorithm. Helps push us and gets us more subscribers. So we enjoy doing this and want to keep doing it. And we've got a loaded show. Football is gonna be back in full force after an exciting week one of games. I think all the games that we discussed lived up to the hype. Outside of the Bill Belichick, as Grant is wearing a Carolina shirt right now. But,
I realized that when we got on camera, I was like, I got a Carolina shirt on.
Grant's still on the Chapel Bill train here. Or are you just rooting for the downfall so then you can go try and scoop up Jordan?
Not so much Jordan, because she seems like a certified nut job.
Why do you say that, Grant?
Well, she's kind of making this thing all about herself. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I thought I saw a shirt that someone was wearing in Chapel Hill last week that it said it had Air Jordan on the shirt.
Yes.
Was that a real shirt?
Recreated the picture. I believe it was.
With allegedly Bill laying on his back and her in the air doing some gymnastics move or something like that.
Yes, that was a real picture that she had on her Instagram.
So what in the world has Bill Belichick come to?
We talk about Al Davis.
Is he serious, or is this just him totally fucking with us? And does he have a beef with the University of North Carolina and he just wants to ruin this program?
I don't know. I'm not ready to just completely abandon ship after one game. I think because anytime you have 70 new players, it's going to
no, that's fair.
It's going to take some time. I think you're going to see a lot of improvement. You watch that game. There was a lot of things that they can improve on. Such as fixing the run fits, tackling better. I think a lot of the stuff you're going to see him get corrected. But like we said, when we did our ACC preview, they're going to struggle in September, but come October, November, when they're clicking, that they're a team that they're going to make teams sweat.
And also, I think you have to realize this. I think opposing coaches and teams are going to take this Bill Belichick hire very personal, where they're going to want to stick it to him because he hasn't coached in college in 45 years, or has he ever coached in college? And now all of a sudden he gets the head job at a Power 5 program. Where I think you're going to have a lot of coordinators and assistants who've been working their way up, trying to run the score up on them if they get a lead like TCU did. I'm not saying TCU ran the score up, but I think there's going to be a lot of games where a lot of teams take it personal this year against Carolina.
It could happen, but also since we are talking about the ACC. Outside of Clemson, which still it was a tremendous game by the Tigers. It was a game that could have went 50-50, could have away. They're going to be just fine. But I mean, you look at some of the wins that Miami, which I'm still pissed at myself because I was like, I there's something about Notre Dame that I'm just not fully on board with, and I was like, everybody's picking Notre Dame. I don't think this Miami team is going to be as bad as people say, and I don't think Notre Dame proved too that they're going to be right in the conversation as well. I thought you look at CJ Carr of the freshman quarterback. I mean, he looked a lot better than Arch Manning did over the weekend. There's a lot of optimism for a guy for Chad Carr or for CJ Carr to come out and play really well. And, I think he's only going to get better. Just seeing him go from the first snap of the game towards the end is because I fully thought that he was going to get Notre Dame down into field goal range and get a tie to go to overtime.
He looked pretty decent in the second half, actually. More so the fourth quarter, I guess, but
especially because I don't know if Jeremiah Love was hurt or what the deal was, is why
they didn't run the ball.
Use him at all.
I think Notre Dame going into that game saw Miami's front was good with 6 new players in the secondary and a new defense. I think Notre Dame thought they had a better shot, a better advantage on the perimeter, but I didn't like their I didn't like their passing concepts. How many times did they throw that same screen? Right away, like what, 7-8 times? I didn't like that a whole lot. And if you're Notre Dame and you're Marcus Freeman and you want to build your program on toughness and running the ball with your offensive line, even if you think Miami has a great D line, I'd still challenge them. It's early in the year. Their conditioning levels are not going to be good. It's not like you're playing Miami in November. It was hot. It was raining. It was a muddy field. You'd think they'd have a better the advantage in the running game. So maybe they just got too cute. But
yeah, it's possible. I think some of that quick screen game, I think that was them trying to get CJ into a rhythm, getting him just feel comfortable his first college start, playing at Hard Rock Stadium, playing Miami, trying to just get him calmed down, get him into the game. And I think that might have been what part of the game plan was, but we might, we talked about this one a little bit, but we'll do our regular of what we've been doing, our college football team of the week here. So we'll just get into it because somebody might have Miami as their team of the week here, but we'll start in typical fashion here. And I got some big surprises for who the helmets are going to be this week. And with the first pick, it is going to be me, the Cowboys. Second pick is going to be Ethan and the Caboose. You saved the best for last, the Kansas City Chiefs. Grant, you're the Caboose, but my college football team of the week here is, and I get this reputation of being a known hater of this school, but I feel like I give this team plenty of flowers when they deserve it, and they deserve it. I'm going to give it to the Ohio State Buckeyes, specifically the Ohio State defense and the job Matt Patricia did here. Just a dominating effort. I mean, they never let Arch look comfortable at all. I mean, he was looking to get out of the pocket. He had quick feet, or happy feet, I should say. And he did a good job, that secondary, of just confusing him, like dropping back into coverage, and Arch didn't know what to look at. And then it still also kind of felt like Sark had the training wheels on Arch, which is maybe something to cause for concern. I think it was a tremendous defensive game by both teams. Both teams are going to be fine. And also, I think the expectations for Arch have been just completely unrealistic by the ESPN media, like Feinbaum saying that he's the greatest quarterback since sliced bread, and just putting where the guy, his first start is going up against the defending national champions on the road. I mean, not many quarterbacks are going to play well, and against an NFL defensive coordinator. I thought that they'd have a little bit more success, but Patricia really relied on that, the strength of that defense, that Ohio State secondary, to really confuse them. And I mean, the receivers didn't have much separation. The one interception that Arch threw, he threw the ball short, and terrible route by the receiver, but it was a great play defensively where to get him to go up and get the ball. And those windows were really tight where Arch didn't quite trust himself. And then, on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, Julian saying, I think Ryan Day, the Pierce Nipple head coach, not actually, that was photoshopped. But Grant, did you see any? Did you see that?
I saw that picture. Of course, I missed the second half of the game, but when I saw that picture, I was like, "There's no way this can be true." But the world we live in with AI is so powerful. It looked real. I was like, "Did he actually do that?"
Just a nice little barbell.
But you know what? Hey, you know what? When you dye your beard black, and you win a national championship, you can do whatever you want.
So, Grant, I think he's heard that, and I think he's stopped, because if you go watch the post game interview with Jenny Taft, there was more gray in that beard than there's been in a long time. I'm like,
I did see that.
Dye it.
He did dye it. Yep, he got caught in 4K.
Yep. But I thought Ryan Day just looked over to the sideline and was like, yeah, well, that Texas offense isn't going to do anything. We're just not going to put Arch in bad spot. It's going to be a field position game, and we're just going to make them see if they can go the length of the field. And the one big play that they had to hit on, they hit it to Carneal Tate for the touchdown, and that was the difference in the game. Both teams are going to be fine. It was a defensive slobber knocker, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that we're going to see these two teams play again down the road in the playoff. But yeah, hats off to Ohio State. They're as good as advertised, and they any talk of a decline or a rebuild has been put to well, and frankly, if you thought Ohio State was going to be taking a dip or be into a rebuilding phase, you're frankly an idiot and you have no idea what you're talking about, aka Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, Dylan, on the wide receiver stuff. Like, they were terrible. Like, I don't know what happened to Ringo. He was non-existent. These other stud receivers that they've got, nothing. Like, they lose Matt Golden, and they're all of a sudden there's nothing there. They were like glue on those guys. And I mean, granted, yes, Ohio State's defense is good, especially their secondary. But it's like they knew it was almost like Michigan all over again when they knew what was coming, but like obviously they're not. But yeah, it was just ridiculous. Like, Arch, yes, wasn't great. Mechanics were all over the place, constant pressure. But yeah, those receivers did him no favors.
Well, and I also heard today that he was also dealing with a shoulder injury that we just are finding out about.
That's not confirmed. Really, people just think that.
Oh, so all of a sudden when they play bad, then the shoulder's an issue.
Yeah, somebody brought that up, and it's not an actual thing. No one has came out and said that.
Also, guys, I've noticed this with Sark in big games. When he's on early, he's on. Like last year against Michigan, he's on. That national championship game against Ohio State 5 years ago now, which is going to be crazy to think, he's on. But when he's off and he starts to press, he's not calling an offense. He's just calling plays. He's looking for something to work. And it looked like that's what Texas was doing. Like I said, when I was able to watch the first half of the game, it just looked like they were trying to find something to get going, and they couldn't. And he had no rhythm going, and then he kind of panics as the game goes on and handcuffs his team.
Yeah, it's a thing now with Sark is because you look at the last big games that he's played, they have not been great play calling. I mean, you go back to the Ohio State game in the semifinal, it wasn't great. You look at what he did against Georgia in last year in 24.
Both games.
Yeah, both games. And then even the playoff game against Arizona State, they struggled right away. I think
they got hot. They got hot right away. They kind of tailed off. They petered out. Half. Yeah,
and then you go look at Washington right away. They got off to a slow start against Washington.
Mm-hmm.
But Ohio State is my team of the week. Ethan, let's kick it over to you. Who is your team of the week?
I'm going to go Florida State, solely just based off of how horrible they were last year. Not saying Alabama's a world beater. I don't even think Alabama's a top 25 team right now, let alone we'll see if they're at the end of the year. But just honestly, they beat the heck out of them. Like, that was a pretty good ass whooping. I know 14 points doesn't seem like it. It never felt that close, just kind of watching it in the background. Florida State controlled both lines of scrimmage. Alabama's quarterback was all over the place. They never really had any flow to the offensive game either. Credit to Norvell and Florida State for a nice bounce-back win to start the year.
Gus Malzahn, he's had success against Alabama. And the part that was so concerning about Alabama was just the lack of effort there was. Mm-hmm. There was no juice to that team at all. And, I mean, I had him as a playoff team, but now it's like, I don't know, like Kalen DeBoer is starting to kind of hear the rumbles, and I think he's listening to him to a little bit too much. And I mean, there's a lot of season left, so Alabama could bounce back and they could shut us all up. I also think that Florida State, I think you got to give them there's not enough credit in the world to give them because this was a huge bounce back year for them. After going 2-10 last year, and then now going and starting the year beating Alabama. I mean, and Tommy Castellano. I mean, there wasn't a dude in college football that talked more shit than he did going into this game, and he backed it up.
Yeah, sure did.
I mean, I think, Dylan, to your point with Gus Malzahn, if there's one person out there we can call an Alabama killer, it's him.
Yeah, of the Saban era, yeah.
Of the Saban era, yeah. If there's one coach who we can say knows how to do it, and you know what, good for him for having some fun on the internet afterwards, tweeting. Was he like, hey, I felt this before, or I know this feeling, whatever it was. It's like, you know what, good for you, Gus.
And the fact too is that and I mean, look at what has Auburn been since they've gotten rid of they got rid of Gus Malzahn, ran him out of town because he wasn't beating Alabama enough.
A train wreck.
Because I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020, but like those two games, the game in 21 and then the game in 23, you can't tell me that a Gus Malzahn coach team doesn't win that game. They find a way to close that game out.
I think they win the 23 game for sure. Because when did he lose his job? Was it 20 or 21?
20. 20 was his last year.
Okay. Yeah, no, they definitely closed that game out.
And also, Gus Malzahn, a hell of an OC. Like, and that's all that man has to do. Watch out, ACC. But Grant, who do you got for your team of the week, and why is it Georgia Tech?
Believe it or not, it's not going to be Georgia Tech. When you start your game off with 3 possessions and three straight turnovers, I cannot have you as my team of the week.
Would that game have potentially been a Beth Mullins game of the week pick for you? In hindsight.
In hindsight, it wasn't as bad as the Beth Mullins game. It could have been had Georgia Tech not had those 3 early turnovers, because throughout that whole game, you could tell they were the better team. Their first play of the game went for 13 yards. Just ran it right off the right tackle, right through Colorado's defense. And then they fumble on the second play of the game because they missed they had a muffed handoff. Running back was on the left side of the quarterback. King went to hand it off. He was going to pull it and fake it, and then the ball hits the ground. Next possession, King I think overthrows a player right to a Colorado defender, and on the third possession, they can't get the snap down. Snap it high. King tips it with his fingertips. Ball's on the ground. Colorado gets it. But when you rush for, I want to say they rushed for over 300 yards in that game.
Yeah, they did. That last touchdown run put them over.
Yeah, that 45-yarder. But even within, they still only won that game by 7. But had they not turned it over those 3 times, they probably win that game, I'd say, by at least 17 points.
I didn't get to watch any of it. I also heard, though, so at the end of the first quarter, I heard that is like the time where it just that's like where the student section decides to light up. Is that a real thing? Did you get to smell it?
I can confirm that is a real thing.
I remember I saw that interview like last week, and I was like, I can't wait to get till we record and I can ask this question.
Confirm.
Where he's like, man, I don't know what it is, but there's something about the first quarter, and it just smells like weed.
The smell of weed is in that stadium from the midway point of the second half to the end of that game. You look down to the student section, and there is just puff of clouds of smoke coming from everywhere.
Geez.
And like Ethan can confirm, one of the biggest student sections I've ever seen.
It's massive.
It's massive, Dylan. It probably takes up
35% of that stadium.
Of that stadium. It's huge.
Kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
they also do the skull chant.
Yeah, not the skull, the SKO, SKO, SKO buffs.
Exactly the same thing the Vikings do, though.
And Dylan, they do it right before the fourth quarter starts.
Ooh.
It could be cool, but it's really not organized well. They don't have of course, anyone on the drums, and you just have the PA.
Well, they're
guy.
higher than kites. Do you think they're gonna
Now, that's a very valid point.
It's true.
But I will say this also, man, Georgia Tech fans, they are. You can tell they are from Georgia, and they can tell they root for the third best football team in that state. They are unintelligent people.
Your
third
friends
best?
next
Wow.
to you.
Well, Georgia, the Bulldogs, the Falcons,
Oh
and then,
yeah.
and then Georgia Tech.
True.
And what about Georgia State? You forget about them?
Who cares?
Okay. All right. Well, who actually is your team of the week then, Grant?
So I went back and forth between two SEC teams, but just because they put an absolute slobber knocking on this offense in their stadium, I'm going to go the LSU Tigers defense. They answered the bell, this week, guys. They came out and they just looked a lot more comfortable in year 2 in this new defensive system. And they were flying around, they were having fun, and also the return of Harold Perkins was absolutely huge. And watching him when they brought him blitzing all night, where Clemson for some reason couldn't figure out where number 7 was, it makes me wonder why they took him off defensive end, outside linebacker going into his sophomore year, because he is a difference maker. Coming off the edge, and this LSU defense, they almost took it personal. You could tell by all the stuff people were talking about how bad they were these last 2 years. And they made a statement on Saturday night. Clemson, they looked out of sync. They looked worried. You could just tell that LSU had them on edge. And even on the LSU offense, of all these big games this weekend with all the top 10 games, you could argue that the LSU's offense looked the most comfortable and the most well prepared of all these other teams. Ohio State and Texas, their offenses, they got some work to do. Miami looked good with Beck. Notre Dame, they got some work to do. But this LSU offense looked the most ready for the year, which is always the case because defenses are always ahead early. But if this LSU defense can keep this cohesion and they keep playing the way they did, watch out, because they're going to be a team that nobody wants to see.
And that game should have been a 2-score game, because the fact that they did not call that a touchdown is absolutely ridiculous. It was a rough week of officiating.
That's the worst
officiating crew.
That is the worst rule, and I don't know if it's all of football or just college football, but they need to change that. The dude catches it. He takes 2 steps, falls, hits the pylon, and then the ground. The play's over. He's a runner. That's a touchdown.
I don't know what was a worse call, that one or the targeting call that they called on Jayshon Barham in the second half
that was
that he
bad.
can't play against Oklahoma. It was so bad.
You got a guy running 18, 19, 20 miles an hour. He sacks the quarterback, and you're going to suspend him for a half? It's ludicrous.
Oh, that was the thing. It was like, what was he supposed to do? If anybody should have been kicked out of the game, it should have been the right tackle, because that was a horrible block.
Mm-hmm.
But and then the fact that they don't overturn it, and they show, they go back to 23 where a dude from East Carolina just completely decapitated JJ McCarthy, and he gets kicked out of the game. They appeal it, and then they reinstate him for that game, which was that's what the guy was trying to do. He was trying to knock JJ out of the game. Barham was making a football play. And when they went on the replay and was saying that, we don't know, this could be, I was like, what are you talking about? There's no way this is going to be targeting. What is he supposed to do? He made the tackle. And then they did. I almost threw the remote through the TV, but I didn't.
No, that's fair.
But Grant, we'll stick with you here. We'll go up to the NFL, because we do have the week 1 here. The Cowboys did trade Micah Parsons, which initially I was very, very upset and unwell about it, but I've coped myself into believing that this is going to be a good trade. The Cowboys are gonna go on a run here because of this trade. And do you guys want to hear some of my copes?
Is meth one?
No meth.
All
No
right.
meth
That's good.
here. Let's see here. I gotta find it. All right. Right after it was last place in the North. Guy has a cancer to the locker room. Doesn't show up in playoff games anyways. Spends too much time podcasting rather than getting better. Cares more about getting holding calls than getting to the quarterback. Those were my copes. I said the Packers are going to go 3-14 the next 2 years. Dallas will have 2 top 10 picks. And I fully believe that the Packers are still going to take last place. He's not a factor in the run game. So that's my thoughts on the Micah Parsons trade. Good luck, Green Bay. He's your problem now. Just another big name signing that won't show up in big games. Doesn't perform well in the playoffs.
To be fair, like Dallas wasn't good with him, and that was
exactly
2 Pro Bowl corners on both sides. No offense, the Packers have no one on the level of Diggs or Bland. Nobody.
They don't.
No, they don't have anyone in the middle either. Like you can say you have
also
there, but it's not a Kenny Clark.
If you say that, and their run defense wasn't very good last year either.
No. So like I get you want the flashy player, but I mean, I really don't see why everyone's making this such a giant deal when he was already a really good player on a shitty defense. It's not going to be a lot different in Green Bay.
And, well, Dallas they weren't very good with him. I mean, you look at the defense last year, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. This year, it's going to be the same story. And if Dak stays healthy, I mean, I don't think it could be to the level of it, but I think you guys will understand my analogy here that, I mean, they could be this year's Cincinnati Bengals where they could put up 40 points a game. Like, I think that offense is good enough to put up 40 points a game, but the defense is going to give up 42.
I agree. I will say this. The one thing with the Parsons trade, it might make me rethink my NFC North predictions in this. I just swapped Green Bay and Chicago. They might go up to the 3, but it doesn't move the needle for me. They're not Super Bowl favorites. And
which is crazy the way the media talks about how they are.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now that you lose Kenny Clark, who's you can't stop the run in Green Bay in the middle. And then where's your pass rush to eat up the quarterback if Parsons can come around and get the edge?
It's non-existent.
It's non-existent. So quarterbacks are just going to run right through the middle of this defense. And also, people are forgetting both the Lions and the Vikings have 2 pretty good tackles.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be able to just slow him down just enough. So it's not a needle mover where you getting all excited and you think, oh wow, yeah, they're now a Super Bowl team.
They're not.
Which they're not. And Dylan, to your point, Dallas wasn't good with him. They're not going to be good without him. Now they just, won't have any pass rush. They still couldn't stop a run. So it's not a whole lot's going to change for Dallas.
And who on their offense makes you lose your sleep? None of those wide receivers make you lose your sleep. Like, yeah, Matthew Golden could have some moments, but he's a rookie. He's not going to come in here and light it up.
He's a rookie, and he's only 5'11". So it's not like he's a red zone threat.
Premier League neighbors or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or Brian Thomas Jr. And also, it's Green Bay and it's Matt LaFleur. They don't practice in training camp. They're going to have a rough September. And
and you go look at
Parsons hasn't been practicing. How do we not know?
He has not had pads on.
Yeah, exactly. How do we know his back's not going to act up? He's not going to have a groin. He's not going to have a calf issue here soon that causes him to miss a bunch of time.
His L4 and his L5 are all misaligned.
Yeah, he already needs an epidural just to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going to happen when Detroit double teams him and you have Sewell and Laporta and he gets bent all funny and he has to miss the rest of that game? Then you have no help on the defensive line.
Like I said, they have 48 months to win a Super Bowl, and if they don't, it's an absolute failure.
Yeah.
That's kind of on par for Green Bay, though. You know, they've had quarterback bliss for 40 years and 2 Super Bowls to show for it.
Yeah, it's true. Their
But
draft
hey, their fans are owners, so.
But their fans are better than us because they're owners.
Mm-hmm.
But Grant, what do you got for NFL Week 1 game of the week?
We got a lot of good ones to choose from.
We do.
We really do. And you know what, guys? I'm going to stick in the city of Green Bay, and I'm going to go Detroit, Green Bay. Now this game just kind of has some extra juice. And also, just for the sheer fact that I think CBS is going to have their game day crew live at Lambeau. They're kind of like an NFL version of College Game Day. Since this is the 3:25 game on CBS 2:25 for Dylan, for you those out in Mountain Time. And Dylan, speaking of Mountain Time, best time zone in the country.
Thank you. I've been saying that forever.
It's phenomenal. I absolutely.
Games start at 10.
10.
Games end at 10.
Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. For those 3 days this week, like when we went to that game on Friday, the game was done at 9:30. I looked at Miranda and Jared and I said, "You guys know how nice this is? The game's not getting done at 10:30. It's not 10:45. You're not getting home at 11:30 because you're dealing with traffic. Mountain Time is absolutely phenomenal.
It is.
Absolutely
really is.
Phenomenal. But game 1 of the week. I'm going to say Detroit and Green Bay. For all the things we just said with Parsons and can Green Bay figure this out? Can LaFleur change his training camp schedule where they have a better start in September? But also, let's find out, guys, about these coordinator losses in Detroit. Can Jared Goff and this offense pick up from where they were last year? How does the retirement of Frank Ragnow change things? Does that put more on Jared Goff's plate? Where is he calling the protections now, where he has that much more stuff to do? Can Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs still be the 1-2 nasty duo that they are? And then I want to see Aiden Hutchinson coming back from injury. Is he going to show up? It sounds like in training camp, the dude is just absolutely unblockable. And Green Bay's offensive line and their tackles, they're okay. They're not great or anything. I want to see him, screaming off the edge. And I think this game is really going to set the tone for both teams this season. And nothing should get you going fired up and more than not only when football is back, but when you got a division game. You got 1 of 6 of these in the year. Winning cures everything in the NFL. Losing makes it that much worse. After 6-7 weeks of training camp, are these teams ready to play? I'm excited. This game is going to be awesome. And you know what? Classic Detroit and Green Bay style. It's going to come down to the last 2 minutes, and this finish is going to be one where we're like, what just happened?
That's fair.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So, and also, you got the best announcer in the business, Jim Nantz, calling the game. And I'm here for anything Tony Romo when he crashes out. I'm here for it. So, Lions-Packers, my game of the week.
I'm going with another interdivision game. I'm going 49ers Seahawks.
Ooh.
Sam Darnold. Does he continue that great season from last year over with Seattle? Good storyline. Cooper Kupp, does he bounce back with Seattle as well? So a lot to prove there. Kenneth Walker, can he stay healthy? So there's a lot of storylines coming out of Seattle that if they go well, they could be a really good team. 49ers, are they really good, or was last year just the new norm? Like that big bounce back season for them. Defense, can they stay healthy? Brock Purdy, can they get the receivers? Pearsall, can he play a full season at a high level like he ended last year? Can Juwan Jennings stay healthy and actually be that number 2 that they've envisioned for a while? And can they exist without Debo? Like a lot of question marks all over this field. And I guess they traded Bosa too, didn't they? Or he's gone. No, that's other
Bosa.
But yeah, there's a lot of storylines to this one, and I think it's in Seattle. Be a massive start for the year for the Seahawks.
It is in Seattle. Yeah, I'm high on the 49ers. I have them winning the division. They also went out and traded for Brian Robinson from Washington as well.
Good number 2.
To see. Yeah. Interesting to see there. Can McCaffrey stay healthy? There, I think it's a good measuring stick game for both teams. We're gonna see how Sam Darnold. See if what Seattle gets. Are they gonna get the first 16 games of Sam Darnold from last year, or are they gonna get the last 2 of Sam Darnold from last year? And it's gonna be a good test against a nasty pass rush from the 49ers. So.
And also, guys, Brock Purdy, first game off the new big deal.
Yep.
It's go time.
And, like put up or shut up time.
Yeah, and like Ethan said, with all the questions they have at the receiver position, it's time for your quarterback to be elite.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yep. My turn now. So I'm going to go with the Sunday night game, a rematch of the AFC divisional round matchup. The Ravens versus the Bills on Sunday Night Football. Lots of storylines. Out after this game, before the Bills play the Chiefs, that schedule sets up real nice, where they could be and probably should be undefeated going into that game against Kansas City. I mean, the way that schedule sets up for the Bills, they should be a 13-win team, I think, in my opinion. That's why I had them as the 1 seed
because this game's in Buffalo. This year. It's in Buffalo, right?
It is in Buffalo. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And the big key is, or one of the things is the Bills. Ethan talked about Bosa. The Bills went out and signed Joey Bosa this year to kind of bolster that pass rush. And I don't really care what he does this game, because the main point of signing Joey Bosa is to go get him and make sure he is healthy for the playoffs. It's similar to what they did with Von Miller, and it didn't quite pay off. Will it pay off this time with Joey Bosa, who's had a lot of trouble staying on the field from his time in Los Angeles?
I will say this, Dylan. With that Von Miller, if he doesn't tear his ACL against Detroit on Thanksgiving, that's maybe a different story, because he was hot that year to start, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true.
And in that regular season game against the Chiefs, that regular season, he closed that game.
Was that 23, right?
2.
It was 22. Okay.
Yeah, because it was after the playoff game, the whole 13 seconds.
Oh, yep. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. And then James Cook is back after signing a contract, but he had a holdout, so kind of curious to see what he's going to look like. And then Ravens went out and signed D-Hop, gave him that red zone threat, something that offense has been missing the last few years. The key, though, is because both these quarterbacks like to use their legs, is I think it's going to be crucial that the defensive line, they rush with great integrity to close off those scramble lanes for Lamar and Josh, to where keep them in the pocket and bottle them up, keep them where the bodies are. And it's the first game of the year. So, there's going to be some juices flowing, where it might cause them to be a little bit too jacked up, where both of them over pursue, where they get a little bit undisciplined in their rush lanes and potentially allow a pocket for either quarterback to open up or find a lane and go open up and take off and break one of those 20-yard runs, which I think could be a big factor in the game is the quarterback run game, where if one of them does break off a 20-yard run, where they're able to go and kind of give that offense some rhythm and see them drive down the field, that might potentially be a difference. But a great way to start Sunday Night Football. Great way to cap off the week 1, the first Sunday of the NFL season, because there's plenty of good games, and it's going to be NFL. It starts tomorrow night because we got Cowboys Eagles.
Dylan, can I give an honorable mention for game of the week?
Yes.
How about Tampa Bay going to Atlanta?
Yeah, both those games last year were fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's some good storyline games, if you will, like Panthers Jaguars. I think it's going to be of teams with a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
Raiders Patriots. How will Pete Carroll look have the Raiders looking. Mike Vrabel makes his debut as Patriots head coach. If we had a Beth Mullins game of the week for the NFL, it'd have to be Dolphins Colts.
Yeah.
Or actually the first two games that pop up here on the ESPN app: Cardinals Saints, Dolphins Colts.
Yeah. That's the definition of a Beth Mullins game. Also, a game that none of us talked about: Vikings Bears.
Yeah.
Vikings Bears, Texans Rams.
I was just say I had Texans Rams as like my third option.
Texans Rams was on my list too.
So,
all right.
And even the Friday night game.
Yeah.
The Friday night game too.
The Friday night
Chargers,
game, yeah.
Chargers Chiefs.
You too. Grant's coming over to watch the game tomorrow. We are grilling steaks.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
And
yep.
I think I'm gonna be grilling a steak too.
Noise.
Ethan and I both have a lot of Cowboys on our fantasy teams this year, so we will be rooting for offense on both ends.
Yep, just offense.
Just offense. Who are you rooting for? Offense.
Well, Ethan's a Cowboys fan now, so he's one of us. He gets to suffer through with me.
Yep.
But let's go to college football here. We'll go to our week 2. We'll end with a bang. We'll start with our week 2 Beth Mullins game of the week here. And this week was a little bit of a struggle, but I think I found it. And I was like, I hope it works out that I got the first pick, because if I didn't, I put all the chips to the table on this game. And my week 2 Beth Mullins game of the week is going to be Fresno State versus Oregon State, 1:30 on the CW network. Both teams have a combined 6 turnovers, have combined for 9 turnovers this year. Fresno State, they did get a win over Georgia Southern last week. Matt Entz got his first win as the Fresno State head coach. The Bulldogs are led by former Hall of Fame quarterback the son of Kurt Warner's son. I'll just stop trying.
Yeah, you're having a difficult time there.
But EJ Warner, he's already throwing 4 interceptions this year.
Nice.
Yep. They've had 6 turnovers on the year in their first 2 games. And Oregon State is coming off a blowout home loss to Cal, who most of the biggest storyline of their season, like in the last couple of weeks, was them discussing who and I forgot to read Grant the tease of a headline here in the NFL, but we'll do that before curveball of the week. So Grant, don't let me forget.
Okay.
But anyways, back to Cal Fresno State. But Cal, there was talk of the university suspending football because they needed to do budget cuts. Not to mention that Justin Wilcox's entire roster was gutted by the portal. And then a true freshman QB just walks into Reser Stadium and just basically carves up a funeral for on the Beavers, because Reser really time the only you ever see that is at funerals is the meal they serve you after the funeral.
The potato salad.
That was a funeral. Yeah, you had some nice beaver with some potato and macaroni salad.
Oregon State was bad.
But this will be I think the over-under is going to be set at about 6 turnovers. A very, very sloppy game that
Dylan, I'm starting to think you just hate the CW.
I didn't pick. I just looked, and it just happened to be on the CW network, which I was also right at that Beth Mullins game of the week last week, because 10-7.
Dylan,
I didn't even finish it. I got through about halfway of the third quarter, and I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to bed.
Dylan, can I be honest with you?
Yep.
I found that game on the TV. I took a Snapchat, and I turned that game off. It appears that at that game the most excitement was after the game, when the coaches were fighting. Washington State player was taking a mouth guard off an Idaho dude's face mask. That was the most exciting part of the game, it appeared. Also, was that Ryan Leaf in the studio?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
That's
God.
awesome. All right.
Grant, we'll kick it over. Or Ethan, excuse me.
Ethan.
We'll kick it over to you. What is your Beth Mullen game of the week?
Well, I started out with a good streak yesterday or last week with naming a team that I didn't know had a football team. So we're going to stick with it. We're going to do Bethune versus Miami. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but
Bethune-Cookman, yep.
Bethune, I don't know, Bethune. Who the F is that? I have no idea. But they play Miami, and it's not going to go well.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
So
That's a game that probably should only be streamed on like Miami's athletic page.
yes. I almost went back to Texas Tech. They post Kent State, who I guarantee is probably not better than Bethune or whatever the frick they are.
You give them hey, they're 1-0.
Yeah, they won somehow. God knows
Kent
how.
State, they won. But
Kent State won a football game?
Yeah, they won this.
They won a football game.
They
Who
did.
they
Beat
beat?
Merrimack.
Is that a Division II school?
Probably. They might compete in Division II.
Oh, my God. Well, the
But
Golden
Grant, what do
Flashes.
you got for your Beth Mullins game of the week?
I have 3 good ones on my notes here, but you know what, guys? I'm going to have to go Friday night.
Oh, God.
With the combined points that these two teams last week scored of 6.
Oh, no.
Both of these teams scored 3 points. Western Illinois versus Northwestern.
Oh, God.
Oh.
On the Big Ten Network. The best thing about this game is that it's on the coast of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
The view is the best thing.
The view is the best thing from this game that I'm pretty sure Northwestern gets more people at their women's volleyball game than their men's football game at this point.
Does Northwestern
Missouri
have
Valley Conference reunion because between David Braun being the former
Yeah.
NDSU defensive coordinator, Zach Lujan, the former South Dakota State offensive coordinator, and Ryan Olson, who was also the former South Dakota State offensive coordinator, all 3 of them, and then Western Illinois, a former member of the Missouri Valley Football Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Does Northwestern pass for more yards than Iowa did versus an FCS team, though?
What was it, 48?
48 yards.
I'll take the over.
And this fan base legitimately thinks they're going to go in and beat Iowa State.
What?
Oh, yeah. They're talking like they're going to go beat the snot out of them.
No, they're not.
Football.
No, they're not.
You can't. You're not going to win.
Fun fact for you. The last time Iowa State beat Iowa 2 times in a row was 1999 and the year 2000.
There you go.
That would have been like Ferentz's first 2 years, wouldn't it? Or close to it.
Close to it, yeah. Close to it.
That
Close
might
to
be
it.
Dan McCarney.
It could have been. Yeah, it could have been. But yeah, Western Illinois, Northwestern. I don't want anything to do with this on BTN on Friday night. And you know what?
Well, Grant,
it's fitting because
I could
how many games did Beth Mullins call at Northwestern and Ryan Field in her career? I feel like it's got to be a lot.
I feel like she's called so many games there. They almost have to name the press box after when
The
they're
press box after
renovating
her.
it.
Press box. There you go.
Which would be absolutely disrespectful, especially like if you go look at like the all the prestigious like broadcasters that have gone to the school, the University of Northwestern. Like,
I wonder what
the press box is named after Beth Mullins.
Beth Mullins graduated from.
Oh my God! And then we commemorate it with a statue of 2 feet in there for Rex Ryan when they worked together at ESPN for those couple of years calling games.
Oh God! All right. Well, let's go to we all did our Beth Mullins game of the week. Let's go to our game of the week in week 2 here. And Grant, we'll start with you. What game are you keeping an eye on or excited for this week in college football?
An old school Big 12 rivalry coming back. The border war, Kansas and Missouri.
Hell yes.
Yes. No offense to the people of Norman, Oklahoma. College game day should be in Columbia.
That game should be played at Arrowhead, to be honest.
And it should be played at Arrowhead, yes. And it's actually a crime it's not, because the Chiefs are in Brazil. So they could easily play this game at Arrowhead on Saturday. But yeah, give me Kansas, give me Missouri. Kansas, the first 2 weeks of the year, scoring a lot of points. They look good. Missouri, they put up 60, but their starting quarterback was in that huge leg brace. If Missouri wants a chance to win, to make it to the college football playoff with how weak their schedule is, they need to win this game. If
it's not Prabula in the cast. It's the other guy.
It is the other guy. Okay. Yeah. And if Kansas wants to prove that, hey, we're a team to mess with in the Big 12 this year, like we all thought they were last year, go beat a Missouri team on the road. The fact that old school college football rivalries are back, these two fan bases don't like each other, I think it's going to mean a lot. This game is going to be awesome.
Twitter is spicy this week between these two fan bases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get off work and come home and watch this game at 2:30. Kansas, Missouri, and I don't think it's really close.
I got one that might push it. Intriguing one. Illinois and Duke.
Yeah,
Illinois
that was one I had on my list too.
On the road down to it's not
Durham?
Raleigh. I can't remember. Who cares?
Durham.
That's the word
Duke.
I'm looking for. But no, Altmaier looked really good, obviously, versus inferior team they played last week. The whole team looked
Western
good.
Illinois.
Yep. Yeah, that goes to Northwestern. Good for them. Mensah also looked really good for Duke, his first game there, the big transfer from Tulane. I think Illinois is probably going to pull it out, but it's going to be a really good test for them to start the year. So I didn't even know they were playing until today, and I was like, that's actually a fantastic game.
Well, and I remember that now when Duke was my team I'm buying stock for in the ACC, I remember seeing Illinois on their schedule early.
Yeah. Good test for both.
And it's probably going to be hot in Durham, too, so it's going to test Illinois' conditioning levels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my game of the week, I think everybody kind of knows where I'm going to be going with this one. It's Michigan traveling to Oklahoma. Bryce Underwood had a tremendous first outing, played really well, looked way more competent than anything Michigan threw out there of whatever quarterback play that was. I also really liked the game plan of Chip Lindsey. I really liked the way he was able to get Samaj Morgan involved, where it looked like more of what they did in his freshman year, where they were getting him out in space, getting him the ball quick screens, letting him utilize his speed well, more than trying to just have him be like a route runner. Justice Haynes looked like a dude running the ball. And defensively, I think they played okay. After that, Jayshawn Barham got kicked out of the game. I think it took a little bit of the wind out of their sail. They got to create their own energy because they're going into Oklahoma. It's going to be a raucous environment. It's going to be loud. I think the big matchup here is Oklahoma did not run the ball very well. They actually got outrushed by Illinois State last week. And Michigan, that's going to be one of their keys is making sure they stop the run. And I think that's going to be obviously Oklahoma's as well. But I think the big matchups is going to be the coordinator matchups between, what Brent Venables is going to be able to do to try to confuse Bryce Underwood. What is Wink Martindale going to do to try to get confused John Mateer? And realistically, I think whoever can really come out of this game and make the quarterback play, make fewer mistakes, I think is going to be huge. I would like to see Michigan try and get Underwood involved. I think you didn't really get to see him use his legs. I think his legs can be a weapon. He didn't use it against Mexico. I think they might have been saving that. And I think both teams offensively, it looked like they were both very vanilla as far as that, probably not wanting to give a whole lot to it. But I think it's going to be a good game. Michigan's a 5.5-point underdog, and I think both teams feel like they have a good reason to win, good opportunity. And whoever does, I think this could be potentially, especially if you're Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma needs this win a lot more than what Michigan would, just because of Oklahoma's schedule in the SEC. Michigan's schedule is a little bit lighter in the Big Ten, but to really give themselves some extra breathing room, and where they can have maybe a loss that won't kill them, where if they get that second loss where puts a little bit more added pressure on them, you know, it's a big game in that aspect of trying to keep their playoff hopes alive late into October and early in November, when November comes around.
I wouldn't have guessed that Oklahoma was 5.5-point favorites.
They looked really good. Mateer was fantastic.
Yeah, he threw the ball really well.
He came there with their OC from Washington State, right?
Correct. Yes, correct.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a stud. Yep. Honestly, he might be a dark horse for the first overall pick.
You know what? With the way this year's going to be set up, it's going to be someone we're not talking about. I'm not saying someone's going to have a Joe Burrow type year, but someone's going to come out of nowhere to be that first pick.
Yeah. Him or Mendoza both, I think, have legitimate shots at doing just that.
Mm-hmm. Tell you what, just to have something on the TV right now. The Iowa State South Dakota game's on from Saturday. I tell you what, this Rocco Beck kid can spin it.
Mm-hmm. Good player.
He's good. He's gonna be real good next year.
But Iowa's gonna beat him.
No, they're not.
All right.
That's all right. Oh.
That's fine. Is it
so?
Dylan, your fun facts.
Yep.
Yeah. So Tyreek Hill, I don't know if you saw, he was he just got a divorce finalized from his wife, and I don't know if you remember, but he was caught with a plus size OnlyFans model because she was running routes and tore her ACL. And do you know why he went after her, Grant? He had to explore his tall woman fetish.
Oh my God. That's not a real thing. He did not say that.
Yeah, yes, he did.
Oh my God.
I didn't know this until I was listening to the radio this morning. I was listening to Two Pros and a Cup of Joe. Petros Papadakis was on, and they were talking about it. And,
oh my God.
And, you know, and Petros goes, I don't understand why she was running routes at that size. She should have been working on her pass sets.
Jesus.
Oh my God. That is the greatest thing I've heard of all time.
Oh, I heard that. I was dying. I was just like, and if he would have said that like a second sooner, I was having a sip of my morning coffee, and if he would have said that while I was mid sip, I would have just spit it out everywhere. It would have just been.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
But Ethan, we'll kick it over to you and we'll wrap up the show here. What do you got for us for curveball of the week? As Grant is still laughing.
Yeah. Grant might have to sit this one out. What is your favorite seasoning to cook with?
Oh, easy. The Jack Stack barbecue all-purpose seasoning.
Okay.
Nothing else. That's it.
That was hilarious. But as a resident white man,
Grant's got to shift from tall woman fetish to seasoning. Ooh.
To seasoning.
That's a tough.
That's a tough choice because you know me. Sometimes I don't use the most seasoning out there because I'm a white man from Minnesota.
True.
But I will say a couple weeks ago I bought a thing of the Kinder's, just the plain blend.
Yeah, the blend is good.
The blend, I really like that one. That one's good. And then also, they do have this. It's a barbecue sauce, but they're buttery buffalo. That one's damn good too.
Really, I wasn't a fan.
The
Their
butter.
bourbon
Yeah,
beef
I like that
barbecue
butter one. Yeah,
and the honey hot is really good.
I haven't had that one.
I've heard the honey hot's good. People say.
Yep. I've also heard their buttery steakhouse seasoning is really good.
Buttery Steakhouse. That one's my favorite. That's my favorite one.
Yeah,
to use.
I've heard that's a good one too.
Yep.
I know people think, what was it? Is it caramelized onion? You put it on top of your like French fries or waffle fries before you heat it up in the air fryer. I've heard that's good.
Ooh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There we go.
All right. That wraps this week's episode up. We'll be back next week with a preview of the college football and NFL weeks, as Grant maybe will have his mind off of tall women now.
Not a chance.
No. But make sure you go subscribe, rate, review, leave us a 5-star review, leave a comment. Make sure you share this with all your friends. And thank you guys again for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.